YouTube?
Yes, you are.
Brilliant. So, hi everyone. It's great looking through the list just now of some of the people who are attending this session, recognizing lots of names from my travels around the world. The session I was asked to give was called Joomla 4 Hidden Secrets. I think it's more accurate to call it power tips or power user or just making your life easier. So for those that don't know me, my name is Brian Teeman. I'm the co-founder of Joomla. I work professionally as an accessibility consultant, as a Joomla trainer, and those people that have met me or seen me online, I have opinions. I'm also incredibly lazy, and my aim in life is to do less to achieve more. Probably why I'm involved in Joomla. So I like to think I have 6 rules. Speed. I want everything to be working as fast as it possibly can, whether that's the front end of my website, whether that's creating my website, I want it fast. I believe very strongly in accessibility. I love the fact that in German, the word for accessibility is barrierefrei, which means free of barriers, because I want everybody to be able to use Joomla, that we don't put any barriers in front of them. I try to avoid extensions wherever I can. That's not always possible or desirable, but I do that because it just makes my life easier. Joomla core is incredibly powerful, and if I can avoid several extensions, then I can keep it up to date, I can keep it secure, and I can keep it fast so much easier. I also believe quite strongly that everything should be kept as simple as it possibly can. So everybody uses Joomla for different purposes, for building different types of websites. So that's a challenge. There will always be lots of options, but we can do stuff to hide some of those options or to make it easier for you. And as Robert said right at the very beginning, whatever I do, I want to make sure that I'm having fun doing it. I don't want to start the day going, oh no, another Joomla website to work on. I want to be excited to work with Joomla. And I am excited to work with Joomla and to work with lots of great people and to also have fun with lots of great people and to share a drink with them, hopefully soon, if this lockdown ever ends. A famous person said that you should know your tools. And when you know them better, you will do better. Another famous person, me, said the easier that you make content authoring, the more often that people will write. There's nothing worse going to websites, clicking on latest news or blog and seeing that the last article was written in 2017. We should be making content authoring so simple, people will enjoy doing it and will write more often. So I'm going to show you now several of the new features in Joomla 4. Some of them are completely new, some of them are improved, some of them are enhanced. And these are just some of the things that I've been using for the last year or more, trying to work out what is the tools that I want to use, the best way to build Joomla. So the first thing you'll see with Joomla 4 is that we now have a completely different landing page or dashboard or control panel, whatever you want to call it. And it comes by default with lots of these blocks on the page. And let me just navigate through them a bit and explain as I go along. You can see we've got recently added articles, popular articles, we've got site information, we've got lots of other things, but we can also get rid of them just by one click on publish it. So I don't need the privacy dashboard on this site. I'm going to get rid of it. Don't want the logged in users. What else shall I get rid of? Popular articles. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, let's get rid of latest actions. And how about site information as well? Let's get rid of that one. so that I'm making it much more how I want to work. Now you see we've got these buttons at the top here which jump directly. So that's jump directly into users, or I can jump directly by clicking on the plus into the new users. And that's exactly the same for the other buttons for articles, article categories. But we can add and remove icons as well from here. So you can see here we've got user icon, articles, modules, but we can also add the counts, how many. So that's quite useful for articles. I'm going to put the menu one on now. I usually use this while I'm building a site, and also the template code. I probably would not have those published when I'm live. And you can see there it is saying I've 10 articles on this site, and I've got the quick links right there through to the template code and more. But we can also add modules to this dashboard just simply by clicking on this box. This is new, this is a new style, and filter it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the latest articles, but I'm just going to show my articles because I'm making my dashboard. So I'm changing to the author to just added or modified by me, put it in the cPanel position and save and close. And we can see now we have my articles. Now the advantage now is that that's unique for each person. So if I give Patrick access to this website and he logs in, his my articles will be empty. So it's just one way of making things nice and simple for you and puts everything that you're working on right at the very front of you. So the next big change with Joomla 4 is with images and media. Let me just clear this message on my screen. So let's go and have a look. So to start with, we can go directly into media by clicking on the big icon. And it's a fairly familiar tree navigation sort of thing you're used to before, but you can do more. If I select this image, I can actually preview it. What else can I do? Oh, I can rename it. Let's call this an apple on a tree. And I can also do various things, like I can crop the image. So I just want the apples there. So save that, and you can see it's cropped, and I can resize, and I can also rotate. So I just want to make it a vertical image. All right, so save that, and you can see now we've got a nice vertical image apple. Now you can upload the images just by clicking on the upload and selecting your image. So here's one. And there we've got it, Joomla 4, we made it. And just do a quick preview again. Yep, that's the right image, nice transparent PNG. But we can also drag and drop the images. So I'll select, in fact, the images and media. So just select all those and you can see. And it's now uploaded 6 items. And so what are they? Well, we can see various different things. So here's a JPEG. Let's have a look. That's especially for India today. Then we can have MP4 files. So that's video. And you can also check that it's working in the preview. We've got PDF files. And again, you can preview that PDF. And also audio files. And once again, you can listen to the audio file while you're in the Media Manager. And that's pretty cool. But how do we go about now actually adding the images to our content? So let's go into an article. We'll go to one that's already published. Welcome to your blog, probably. Okay, so let me just clear a bit of space. So the first thing we're going to do is if you click on the CMS content button and then click on media, that's jumped me back into the Media Manager. I'm going to select that image. I'm going to give it the description, the alt text, Indian Olympic gold, I think will do. And then you just click Insert Media. And there it is, job done. Now let's just get rid of that. I'll show you the other ones. Media. Obviously you can upload at this screen as well, but let's put the audio file, and this time it's saying do I want it to be, there's a download link, or do I want to embed the audio? So let's embed it, see what that does. Okay, and let's try the others. So again, media, and we'll take the PDF, and we're going to, this time we'll just have it as a download link. Okay, and the final one is the video, I think. Let's do the video. Yeah, there's Brittany, come on. And we're going to embed it and insert it, and there's the video. You could preview it here, it's just the video starts with a black screen. So I've saved the article. Let's just go and have a look on the front page where that article is. Right at the bottom. And we can see, there we have it. We've got the audio embedded, playing. We've got the video embedded and playing. And we have the PDF file there as a download. So all of that, no add-ons, no extensions, directly in core. So this next one is means nothing to some people and means a lot to others. So if you'd ever used Markdown as an editor, maybe on GitHub or something like that, you'll really like this. So what I'm going to do is, first thing is I'm going to go into the plugins. I'm going to filter it on the editor plugins and select TinyMCE. And scroll down, make sure you set the set that you're working with. And you can see there's lots of different options, but the one we're looking for is not enabled by default. It's called Markdown. So we're going to set that to be on. We'll save and close. We'll go back to our dashboard and let's click on the plus to create a new article. And now we can actually write Markdown. So hash space heading 1. As soon as I hit enter, it comes out as a heading 1. Hash hash heading 2, dash space bullet 1, and dash bullet again, and then 3 hashes heading 3. Now, this is actually, that's Markdown I've written, but you can see here when I switch to the code view, it's translated it to be pure HTML. So it gets saved as HTML. So that if somebody else is working on it who doesn't know Markdown or doesn't like Markdown, they can still edit it. So it's all done in HTML, but you can actually type in Markdown, which for me, having spent a lot of time on GitHub, Markdown is super fast for me and super familiar. So that's great. Excuse me. TinyMCE itself has been massively updated since the version that you've used in Joomla 3. We were stuck on an old version because of Internet Explorer, which we no longer have to support. So woohoo, and we can have the latest and greatest. And one of the things is that when you have some text, I'm just going to put some regular text in, I think, as well. Let me just copy paste some paragraphs in. There we are. So when you highlight something, you get a little pop-up menu, and so I can set it to be italic, and I can set it to be bold, and I can go to a heading and I can change it to an H2. I'll just delete these ones, and let's make this last paragraph a block quote. So again, fast, no moving your mouse away from the content, and here I'm putting a link in. And just put a link to www.joomla.org, and oh, it's prompted me. You should have had to put the HTTP in, and it's done that for me as well. So it's really fast because I'm writing my focus stays on the text without having to constantly pick up my mouse and jump to the toolbar. The next one, content templates. It's actually a lousy name. It doesn't really describe what it does that well. So let's have a closer look. Maybe you can come up with a better name for yourself. So again, let's create an article. You see there's multiple ways to create an article. And there we have, I'm just going to an insert template icon. Have you ever seen that before? Have you ever tried it? This is what it does. It puts these 2 things in, which you can then click save, and you've put some text in. not bad, but not useful because we can't access it. We can't create our own. Well, we can now. So let's go into the TinyMC editor again. Make sure that we select the set that we're working on and scroll down, and content template directory, set it to use the one in your templates. So now let's go back to the dashboard. Let's jump straight in another way to create an article. And now when I hit the content template button, we've got more. All different types of snippets. This is one that I've been using a lot recently because it's a piece of text that I'm using on every single website, every single article. So now just go in, change the link, save, done. And that's been really, really useful. So let's just cancel that. And let's create a new one. So to do that, we need to go into our template and the HTML folder. And we can see there we have a TinyMC, and there's the text files containing the existing snippets or layouts or templates, whatever you want to call them. So let's create a new one, new file. Make sure we select the TinyMC folder, give it a name. Let's see, what are we doing here? Snippet demo, I think. Okay, make it a text file and create. So now we have a text file, and now I can just write HTML into this box. And very simple. And of course, you could take it from somewhere else and copy paste it or whatever you want. So it's any HTML in there. And now when I go back into the article and expand the menu, select the template, and we can see we now have snippet demo. That's the preview, and there it is. And of course, these snippets, layouts, whatever you want to call them, they're not limited to just one. You can have as many as you want in the page. So that was just another way of accessing the menu. And I'm now going to put that big one. So you can see we've now got 2 snippets there, all on one. Now, where this can be really good is you can have some really complicated page layouts, and you can ship them with your templates as text files. People can select them, and then they can very easily, without problems, create their content that matches the design and the styles that you wanted. Excuse me. So in the last session, Patrick mentioned about accessibility, and most of the things that we've done in Joomla 4 to make it the most accessible CMS are under the hood. Those of us who use a mouse and can see will not spot most of the changes. But the funny thing about accessibility is that every one of us will have need for this at some point in their life. Whether that's you've broken your arm and can't use a mouse, so it's a temporary issue, or it's your eyesight getting worse as you get older, or all sorts of different reasons. So there's lots of different things. I'm just going to show you a few of them that we can see right now. So the first one is you can actually navigate through the Joomla 4 admin using the tab key. As you can see, I'm doing that on the menus, and it's now jumped into the site. But to move around, it's a big step, a lot of tabs to go through. So there's this, what we call a skip to, and it's jumping you right to one place, hit the about article, right in the article. Again, pop up the skip menu, jump in, navigate around just with the keyboard. Now, the really cool thing is that jump menu is dynamic and you don't have to do anything. It looks at the page and it creates that menu itself. So it's all done automatically without you doing anything. So what else have we got? So we also, some people will have difficulty with colors. So we can go into the actual admin template, and in the admin template styles, You can see I'm doing all of this with my keyboard right now. Right at the bottom, there's an option, set color to monochrome. So if I set that on and click save, you can see everything's now just in monochrome, with just shades of one color. But that's changed it for everybody, which may not be what you want. So if I turn it back, and if you click in the top right-hand corner, there's an accessibility settings. And again, here, there are some more settings here, but these are for you, the user, and so they can be set differently for every user. So I can have it set to monochrome, and I can leave it for Patrick setting color. I'm just going to turn that off for now. So that's pretty good. So we've got per user settings. We've got another plugin, the accessibility plugin. Now, this is not fixing accessibility problems in your code. This is an extra tool that some people will find useful. So I've just enabled this, and we now have this icon in the bottom left where I can do various things. I can increase the text size. And of course, this is for me as a user, not for anybody else. I can change the text spacing, take that back, decrease it. I can invert the colors, which looks a little bit crazy to me. Again, turn it to grayscale. I can make the cursor bigger. And you can also, this is called a reading line, and it just helps some people to work with the screen. Again, this is not an accessibility fix. These are just accessibility helpers. It's very important to make that distinction. Now, this can be enabled, as with the skip to, in the front end as well as the back end of your site. By default, they're only set for the admin, but you can set them for the front end. And again, if you set that skip link for your front end, it will automatically build the links for you. You don't need to do anything other than publish set the plugin to be on the front end. Now, this was one that Patrick mentioned briefly in his talk, which is email templates. So, and I know some of you guys from Techjoomla have a product, Beautify Templates, Beautify Mails, I think it was called, which kind of did the same thing. This is now in core. Sorry, this functionality is now in core. So let's have a look. So if you do a password reset request right now with Joomla, it's going to look like this. It's ugly, it's boring, it's not branded. If I want to change anything on there, I have to do it as a language override. It's just not very nice. When you compare it to this one from GoDaddy, or even this one from Lingo, they're much more attractive. There's images, there's text, they're more friendly, there's colors, all sorts of different things. And obviously that may not be appropriate for your site, but something like this absolutely could be. And it creates a good impression. So let's take a look at this. So for this one, we need to go to the system dashboard. And here you see mail templates. And this is all the different mail templates that are available. One we're going to look at is user password reset. And I'm just going to delete everything I've got there because that's the default, and put some text in. Let's make this nice and big, H2. And now we can put this, click on that on the side, and it's inserted the special link that's going to be replaced for you, the user. I'm going to drag an image in. Of course, I could get one from the media manager as well. Give it my description, which in this case is a password written in ink on a hand. Let's save. Let's change the title. Okay. Oops. Change that. So as you can see, in this case, the site name is a variable that will be changed. And now we've got a really nice customized email that's ready to be sent to our users whenever they need to reset their passwords. It puts you back in control over the communication from your website to ensure that it's on message, that it's branded, that it's in the styling that you want. And of course, if you're working with a multilingual website, each one of these emails can be translated into whichever languages you need. And you could even, doesn't need to be a translation, it could be a completely different style of message for each language. I'm pretty sure every one of you has heard how important it is to keep your site up to date. So at this point, I just want to put a caveat in here, a warning. Just before I started, Joomla 3.10 and Joomla 4.0 were released. So when it says, when I say keep your site updated, I don't mean that you need to switch off this recording and go and update all your websites to 4.0. You should be updating them to 3.10 and then planning your upgrade to 4.0. But keeping your site updated is actually a bit more than just clicking on a button. Because when I say update your site, whether that's your Joomla or your extensions, I mean all your sites. Because what people forget about is they forget about the overrides they have created. So you can see here in the notifications box, my Joomla is up to date, my extensions are up to date, and this is the new one, overrides are up to date. So what does that mean? Well, every time you update Joomla 4, upgrade an extension for Joomla 4, it will check to see if there have been any changes to the files that you have already changed in an override, and it will flag it here like this. So I've simulated this one just for the purpose of this demo. So if I click on that overrides, it takes me to the template manager, and you can see here there's a warning, it's found a file, it's found a change, sorry. So I go in and select the updated files. So I found one. Here it is. It tells me when it was added, how it was added. This has an extension. If I click on it, okay, this is my version of the file. So this is the override that I'd had before. If I click on show differences, it's now showing me the differences between my changed file and the new one from the developer. So I can look through it and see, do I need to change anything? In this case, I don't. I can just go back, and if I tick that, just to say, I've checked this one, it's all okay, not a problem. It tells me, you can see there on the right, that everything's up to date. I go back, and again, everything's green again. So this is really important, because the number of times you'll see on support forums or on GitHub or just supporting your users, oh, that doesn't work. And the response is, have you tested it with the default template? Oh, yes, it works now. And the reason why we say that is because we can pretty much be certain that the overrides they've created are in their templates and not in the core templates. So we can see that's where the problem is. So now you don't need to do that. We've got the override check. It's going to show you straight away if there's a file that has been updated that you are overriding. It's going to show you the differences and let you decide, do I need to apply those changes to my override? This is a really big change, especially for people who do a lot of customization to their sites. This is going to make their life so much easier. I'm going really fast, which is not a surprise because I'm excited. Google loves a fast website. Whichever way we want to think about it, Google is in charge of search, and they decide what makes someone rank well. And one of the most important things is how fast, how performant your website is. So last night I did a couple of tests. and I compared on exactly the same hosting, so that it's on my same account on my Scala hosting VPS, so that there's no issue. On the left-hand side, we can see the Joomla 3 website, the calendar website, which is just a plain install of Joomla 3 with the blog sample content, nothing extra. On the right is a website that I built in Joomla 4. It's got lots of big graphics, lots of things. It's a live site. For the purposes of testing, I disabled cache on both sites. And then I did some tests. So I thought you were going to be able to comment here. So at this point, I was going to ask you, which do you think is faster? The Joomla 3 site with nothing on it, or the Joomla 4 site with lots of pictures and other things? But I can't see any responses. So I can tell you that this was the test results with GTmetrix. Both sites come out well, although I would expect the Joomla 3 one to do well because there's nothing on it. I'm getting some noise from somebody else on Zoom. Amy, could you mute yourself, please? Right. Thank you. So on the right is the Joomla 4 one. Let's just zoom in a bit. So on the left, the GTmetrix grade, that's the scoring for GTmetrix' own system. And on the right, Web Vitals, that is Core Web Vitals, which is exactly what Google is measuring. And we can see some more metrics down below. Now, in itself, they don't really mean anything. So I'm just going to flip to what Google says that a speed of good will be. So in other words, so right now it's saying my first contentful paint is 476 milliseconds, and Google says that that's good. But they will measure good for anything below 900. So again, if I just flip between them, you can see the difference. This one is the actual score of my website. And these are the levels that Google starts to say things are good at. And you can see how well this site's doing. So if I look at time to interactive on the top right-hand column, Google's happy at 2,500 milliseconds. That's 2.5 seconds. And this site was half a second. So absolutely superb. And again, the next speed index, 270 milliseconds. Google would have been happy with 1,300. So it's a big difference. So that's straight out of the box. There's no caching on, there's nothing special. And it's a much heavier page that I was comparing it to. So we can actually see that Joomla 4 out of the box is fast. And as I said before, a fast site is a site that Google loves. So instead of spending your time with SEO experts, spend your time updating to Joomla 4, following the Joomla 4 best practices, and then you will have a faster website. And a faster website is a higher ranking website. And finally, after a very long time, far too long, but it is what it is, Joomla 4 is here. So what I suggest everybody who's listened to this does is just simply go check out Joomla 4, download it, install it on your test site, whether that's a local host or a live server, whichever way, check it out, see what it's like, see how much faster it is, both in terms of how easy it is for you to build a site, and also in terms of the actual output of the site. That's pretty much it. At this point, I'm just looking and I can see Path has typed a couple of questions. What were the hosting spec? of this. It's a fairly standard VPS. You can check it out yourself from scalahosting.com. It's a cheap VPS. It's a very, very good VPS. You may have seen their advert on the extensions directory as they're a partner, a Joomla partner, and that's why I test everything with. So it's nothing special and also not expensive. Path, are there any other questions?
Yeah, we have one more, Brian. I've just posted.
Yep. Either type it or just speak it, as it's fine. Okay, what about image compression when uploading media, which is directly related to speed? Do we have a new feature on that? Not specifically. I would still highly recommend that if you upload an image, you optimize it before you upload it. But of course, you saw in that image editor, in the media manager, that I can crop it and I can resize it, which I didn't actually show. And when you resize it, you can also set the compression ratio, so you can compress it further. Although I still would recommend doing it yourself on your own before you upload. You can do it on the website.
So there is one more, Brian, that came on social. So the question is about, can you talk a little bit about migration from Joomla 3 to Joomla 4? How hard is it? And is it an update? Is it a migration? Could you shed some light on that?
Okay, so it's called an update and not a migration because it takes place on your site. You're not having to build a second site and migrate the content from one to the other. You will do it directly on your site. The way it works is, first of all, you need to be on Joomla 3.10, which was also released today. Your update to that has a pre-update check built in that's going to highlight various issues. I'm sorry I don't have a screenshot handy, but it includes issues like, do you match the server requirements? Do you match the, are all your extensions up to date? If they're up to date, but there's a Joomla 4 version available, you need to update it. There are other extensions that don't have an update server or have not flagged that they support Joomla 4, and it might actually say, it'll tell you that. And then that gives you the option to decide, I'm not going to do that update with this extension, or I'm going to disable that extension before I do the update. Again, if you remember back to one of my very first slides, don't use extensions, and then you won't have that problem. So you then click on the button and it updates. Will it break your site? If you're just using core components, absolutely not. If you're just using add-ons that they themselves have said we work with Joomla 4, not a problem. With ones that are marked as unknown, the answer to that is I don't know. The most likely problem that you will see is that your front-end template has an issue. And that's simply because the front-end templates have been written either Bootstrap 2 or Bootstrap 3, and by default now Joomla 4 uses Bootstrap 5. Is that right? Bootstrap 2, 3, 4, Bootstrap 5. So it's the templates where you might, or almost certainly will, see some differences that you need to remedy. But that's the main area. And there's nothing wrong with doing a redesign of your site every so often. That doesn't mean recreate the content, it just means redesign it. But in terms of your content and everything else, all works fine. I've updated one very complex site that's in Joomla 3 to Joomla 4, which included code that I wrote, so a custom component that I wrote. I'm not the greatest developer in the world, and there was one line that I needed to change to make it work perfectly in Joomla 4. So I'm just looking at the messages here. So someone's written, how come substitute in substituting template CSS custom and declare it needs index.php, and how can configure the overrides now? I'm sorry, I don't really understand that question. It looks like it's mixing a couple of different things, so I'm going to skip on answering that one. And any more, or anyone for any more?
I don't see any more questions yet. Let's just give it a minute.
So by all means, if you've got a question, quickly type it into YouTube, and I will sit here and try and give you an answer. I just wanted to say, when preparing this talk could have lasted 5 hours, because there are so many things that I wanted to share, so many tips, tricks, techniques, tutorials. This isn't the time and the place for that, and I'm not really wanting to sit and stare at my computer screen without any feedback for the whole day to give a talk. But launching on September the 1st is my own website, learnjoomla4.com, which contains 100% free, no sign up, nothing, just watch tutorials that are going to take you through the process of building a website with Joomla 4 from nothing to a live site. And that will launch on September the 1st. And it's been done in a special way so that I'm trying to showcase all the different ways you can do things rather than just one specific way. And hopefully it will make it super easy to follow along. Everything will be subtitled and we'll have a full transcript available as well. And at that point, I think that's me probably going to say thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Parth and his team for organizing this. And I'm going to stop now. I'm going to get myself a cup of coffee, and I'm going to sit back and watch the rest of the presentations, because I've deliberately not said anything about the topics that they're talking about to keep it as a, I won't say a surprise, but so that they get all the glory. So thank you very much, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Hey, thank you so much, Brian. That was a fantastic session as always. I think your Secrets of Joomla sessions are ones that I have always looked forward to since for years now, I think. Some of the most insightful ones, and something where you learn a lot in, even if we give you 30 minutes, you make it so much more. And it ends up saving a lot of time. So thank you so much. That was fantastic. There is a related question about Techjoomla extensions that I'm going to just take up here, which was related to when will be the extensions ready for Joomla 4. So just an update on that, and I'm sure all other extension developers are doing the same. You will see Joomla 4 compatible extensions come out in the next few weeks. Some will already come out as early as next week. And I think if you go to the Joomla extension directory, you can now find out which extensions are specifically Joomla 4 compatible. So like Brian said, when you are planning your migrations, just check if the extensions you're using, if you still need to use them, because you can do a lot more in core now. They are available for Joomla 4, and then it should be more of an update and not so much a migration. Am I right, Brian?
Yeah, and in fact, I think you'll be, I was on the extension directory last night, and I was actually surprised at such a high percentage of extensions already being marked as Joomla 4 compatible.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think we are so much better prepared this time than all the big upgrades that happened in the last few years. I think Joomla as a project has learned a lot, and we are now so much more prepared to kind of make sure that updates are easy. And we will see, I think, most of the Joomla 3 people migrate to Joomla 4 very soon. And hopefully all the new sites that get built will get built in Joomla 4, getting all the performance benefits and everything that comes with it.
Okay, I'm going to switch my camera off. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And enjoy the rest of the talks.
Thank you so much, Brian. That was wonderful. So up next, we have Shivam and his team from the